Hello and welcome to 4,000 and Counting, brought to you by Hurricane E-Bikes. I'm Watty. This is Mark. That's Colton Saucerman, the Sheffield Steelers' brand new D-man with, ultimately, you can see for yourself, the best beard in the Elite League. We've had a friend of his, Mr. Kev Tansey, on the show, and he talks about this man in a very high regard, and this has been one that's been waiting in the wings for a long time, waiting for Sheffield to finally come out and announce it so we can get the ball rolling. As you can see, I am the only one here that has my head on the right way round. I'm joined by Sauce and Mark. The boys got the memo mixed up, but pleasure to have you on, Sauce. It's going to really looking forward to see you play. That's for sure.
Appreciate it for having me, fellas. I can't wait to get over there.
So obviously, like I said in the intro, we've been sitting on the fact that you're coming for a while, way back, probably even before we had Kev on. Kev definitely confirmed it to us, and we've been waiting a while. When did you actually sign to join and become a Sheffield Steeler? Because the news only broke in the UK last week.
Yeah, it had been a while. I think it had been signed since June. I mean, it was pretty quick. So you've heard kind of the rumblings of the story at my wedding.
No. Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, you haven't heard that? Okay, so
well, not from you. Let's hear it.
Okay. So I got interviewed by a guy that works at the BBC, and he kind of heard rumblings from Champini and Tansey, kind of like what happened at my wedding, and so we were all on the dance floor, and the tequila was flowing, and
nice.
Champ and Tans kind of came over and cornered me, and they were just like, "So you're going to Sheffield next year, right?" And that part of the night was a little hazy, and apparently I agreed to it on the
Boys
spot.
getting these signing contracts 10 tequilas deep, eh?
Yeah, exactly. So I think it was pretty quick after that. Yeah, I got married in the first part of May, and then I called Fox after a couple of weeks had gone by or whatever, and I think the deal was pretty much done in June. And
nice.
Yeah, same thing. I kept keeping you guys in limbo because I had no idea when they were going to announce it and everything, and I guess they saved the best for last. So,
well, it's not bad. It's not a bad looking roster that the Steelers have put together this year. Defensively, they look extremely strong. The goaltender last year was phenomenal. Like, this guy was lights out. He carried the lunch pail as well. I think he played 53 and a half out of the 54 games on it, Mark.
Yeah.
I don't think
he missed one game, didn't he?
Yeah, that was it. Like, he was lights out, and obviously they've brought in some new bodies up front. Do you know many of the guys that you're going to be playing with, or is it going to be the first time playing with a lot of new faces for you?
Yeah, a lot of guys that I had played against, in years past, and a few guys that I've been fortunate enough to play with. And the hockey community is small, so it's, even if I haven't played directly with a guy, I know 5 guys that have played with him, and it seems like Foxy's done a really good job of finding pieces that he needed, either to replace or just bring in new additions that, to give more depth. And I think that's championship quality coaching and general manager. That's, you go out and you find pieces that you need because you didn't have them last year, or you have to find the same thing. And it seems like the guys that he's brought in, from what I've seen and who I've played against so far, I am so excited to get this thing going because it looks really special on paper. And now it'll be our job in the first couple of weeks of camp and then first month of the season to start putting it all together.
Is this the second time now that you're playing with Champini and Kevin? Didn't you play in Innsbruck together?
Yeah, I played with, actually, it goes back even further than that. I played with Daniel Champini in Manchester, my first year pro. Yep. And then I had played against Kevin growing up, and then we played together in Innsbruck, and then we were also in Slovakia together as well.
Yeah.
We're gonna get on to the European stage of your career a little later, but let's stick with the Steelers. Obviously, like Mark said, you've played with these guys before. Are they a big part of the reason that you come? I know when I was playing, if a couple of my good guys were going somewhere and we could buy into what was going to happen, it made the decision making a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's obviously I had heard good things, and this wasn't the first year that Foxy was trying to get me to go there. It seemed like it was a 3 year process to finally like get me there, and I just kept telling him like, look, I want to come play in this league. I've heard great things about it, and then just I talked to Champini probably every couple weeks last year, and he just raved about the city and how well the organization was run, and that he liked Fox a lot, and thought he had championship quality coaching, and so I think Champ's a hard guy to impress. So having played with him and been his friend for a long time, when he's saying those things, it's the real deal. So it was honestly my personal want to go check out the UK, and my wife has never been either. So it's like it was all hands on deck. We were ready to go.
So this will be the first time for yourself and your wife in the UK, even for like a holiday or anything.
Yeah, so we did one time up in Ireland. It was the closest I got with college tournament. But yeah,
never. You played in the friendly Frozen Four tournament.
Yeah, so I was the first year.
How cool was that?
Oh nice.
Man, it was fantastic, and had an absolute blast. We were there for like 10 days. It was absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to get back over and see England and all Scotland. I mean, I haven't seen any of that, so I can't wait, man.
So when you boys did that, what was the deal? You come in, you play, and then you had time to party and get after it, or what's the score?
That's work hard, play hard, right?
Yeah, wicked. What a spot as well. It was in Belfast, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
What a spot.
Yeah.
That's the good thing you'll find about the Elite League. There's a lot of fucking cool cities. Obviously, you got Glasgow in there. Come down to Cardiff in Wales, wicked city. Manchester's a great city. Obviously, you're in Sheffield. We got a lot of friends up there. Sheffield's a good night out with the boys as well. Good places to eat. There's a lot of places in the Elite League that if you ever do a stopover, you're gonna have a good time. And obviously, on your off days and stuff, being in Yorkshire, being in Sheffield, there's so many stunning like rural places around there, eh, Mark?
Oh yeah, I love it around there. When I was living in England,
it's a good part of the country you've landed in, and you have landed in arguably, I mean, it depends who you ask, but probably the biggest club in the UK in terms of fan base and stuff like that. They're sometimes putting in nine and a bit thousand. That building gets rocking. What a place to play when it was buzzing. What's obviously you've been in Europe, you've been in Canada, America. What's been the kind of biggest crowds that you've been playing in front of as a pro?
Probably as a pro. When I had a little stint with the Hershey Bears, and they were bringing in about 10,000. And then this last trip that I was in Europe, when I was in Slovakia during the playoffs, Košice was the second largest city, and then you got Bratislava, which was the biggest city. And we were playing them in the semifinals, and it was our rink held just under 10, and I think theirs was like 12 because they used to be in the KHL.
Yeah.
Originally. So they had like 12.5 or 13,000, and it was just like all 7 games were sold out, like just standing room only. It was probably the coolest playoff environment I've ever experienced. But again, like when Champ told me that the fan base in Sheffield was like lights out, just another like you just want to play for intense, loyal fans.
Yeah.
Like, there's obviously pressure that comes with that, but I think every player needs that. Like you want to be like comfortable and like surrounded and feel loved in the city you're in by the fan base.
Maybe switch your Twitter notifications off then when you come to the Elite League, but maybe just turn that shit on silent real quick.
No, but see, I like that pressure of it, because it's like we have a responsibility to you to perform as well. So it's a double-edged sword, right? That's love and their commitment to us. They give that, every single year, and it's our job to continue it and reward them. So that's the goal.
Something we normally ask the imports when they come on is what it's like to play with the Brits. Now, you haven't got to experience that yet. When we get you back on, I'll ask you that question. But I'll ask you this question: what are you most excited about seeing like the British lads play hockey? Because I don't know how much you know about British hockey, about the British standard. Obviously, we're up in Pool A now, that helps. But there's some good players and there's some fucking funny boys. You've got a couple of them up there in your roster who are absolute beauties.
Yeah, I've heard good things. Like just they have good fundamentals, and their program, and even from when I was growing up, has gotten so much better. Like just continuing to climb and raise their level of caliber players. And so yeah, I've heard that they absolutely have some characters on the team and just good solid energy locker room guys, and then they're mixing in some high end offense, tough physical player. Like I'm pumped, man. I can't wait to experience it.
Mark, what would your suggestion be to source for a place to check out in and around Sheffield? Where would you?
I'd actually go a little bit more further north. I guess New York, and I'd probably wear one of those bike helmets and then take you for a biking.
They would for sure. They would for sure up in York. There's so many nice places in and around Sheffield. You're spoilt for choice. Do you golf or swing the sticks at all?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Some good golf up that way as well.
Yeah, I'm contemplating bringing my clubs over. I don't know, trying to figure that out, but we definitely want to get out and play a couple rounds for sure. And
Tell Tony Smith to get off his wallet and pay for you to put the clubs on the plane. Come on, Simsy. Our boy Simsy will get it. Our boy Simsy will get it sorted. Let's go, Simsy. Get the man his golf clubs on that plane. There's too much good golf to miss out on. What about other kind of sports and stuff? Are you into any other sports you play or watch, or what's your deal?
Yeah, I mean, I love obviously, yeah, golf is probably the main one during the summer, but love getting out for pickleball, and like I love like ping pong, darts. I'm not that good at pool, but I like it.
Yeah.
It's like that game to me is like that's a goal of mine to be really good at that game someday. It's just I think it's a huge flex when you're in a bar and you can just run a table, no problem.
Oh
yeah. But I'm not that good. Ping pong, I'd like to say I'm pretty good at ping pong. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the other sports, growing up, I wrestled as a kid. Definitely love that. It's kind of my only one-on-one sport, I guess, and if you consider golf a one-on-one sport. But yeah, I just focus on hockey now, and I love just being active with my wife, and I love just being active, doing anything and everything, hiking, biking.
What about you, a lifter? You like lifting your weights, or are you more just into your hikes and stuff?
No, I mean, I've been power Olympic lifting since I was like 12, so I definitely have a good background in weightlifting, and I enjoy it. I've definitely just like, I think over the last 3 years of my career, I've just definitely explored more of like body weight stuff,
plyometrics type based stuff.
Isometric, eccentric stuff. My wife's actually a trainer, a personal
That's
trainer,
handy.
and so it's super handy, and she's getting her master's in nutrition. So it's
wow! So you got no excuse, eh? Like literally not a single excuse.
I got the formula, yeah. But no, I love yoga. I've thought about when I'm done playing, getting my yoga certification. And,
okay.
Yeah, just working at one of those fancy resorts and.
Yeah, that would work.
Making 6 figures a year being a yoga teacher.
I mean, yeah, that would definitely work. What do you find? When did you get into yoga, and have you found perhaps your dexterity, durability, what's the right word? Injury prehab has been better throughout the course of your season with the added benefit of doing the yoga?
Yeah, definitely, man. And I switched up my diet too, so I'm pretty much vegan. I still mess around with eggs and cheese once in a while, but for me, I was the guy who always I was working so hard in the off season. You have your 2 weeks off and rest the body after the season, and it just seemed like I was always having to work so hard to get back in shape. And since cutting out like animal products, for me, it's just helped me kind of like maintain weight, and I don't have these like huge fluctuations. And I mean, I tried every diet that you can think, carnivore. I was on carnivore for a while, paleo,
Yeah.
Keto. Like I tried them all, and I just feel better, less sore. Definitely
Less inflammation, right?
just more, yeah, more mobility in my knees, and my joints are just like thanking me for it. So I just
do you miss
feel
like a nice T-bone or a nice like tomahawk
you,
right there, just cooked nice medium rare?
you know what I wish? I miss like exotic seafood.
Oh,
Like I
okay,
miss
nice.
like
Okay.
clams,
Ooh,
lobster. Like I miss that
yeah.
stuff, but I don't like the steak. Like I always liked steak. It was never that, but it was more like, to me, going out for a nice dinner, like when I was still eating meat, meant like, seafood.
Oh,
I
fish,
want
yeah.
like, oh yeah, I want good like fish. But yeah, it's been 3 years now that I've been vegan, and I really like it. I just, like I said, it's no moral reason for it. It's
No.
just I just feel better eating that. So yeah.
How do you intake the bulk of your protein? Because you're a big man, and obviously getting your daily requirements of protein without eating
Yep.
meat is more difficult, naturally. So what
Yep.
does a man your size do to, because I imagine you're probably up around a couple of 100 grams of protein per day. How do you figure that and get that into your diet?
Yep. That's I'm exactly like 105 grams a day. That's what I
That's
that's
it.
what I stick to. Yeah. It's
105
just
grams. You can get away with that.
that's I mean,
Wow.
well, that's what, for my body, like for everybody's different, right? So
Yeah.
it's like nobody is like set to a specific.
Nope.
You have to find out what works best for you. And so for me, it's anywhere between 105 and 115, depending on if it was a super taxing day,
Yeah.
then I'll add some more in. But I can get all of that from protein powder,
Yeah, if you only have to
legumes,
get like 100,
beans.
100's not too bad. 105. Once you start
And
getting
again,
up
I
around 200, that's a lot.
for sure, yeah. And it is hard. It's a full even the 100, it's hard because you have to I'm eating less dense meals,
Yeah,
so I have to eat more. So I probably eat 6 meals a day,
yeah,
but they're just like smaller, spread out a little bit more. So I eat every 2.5, 3 hours. Whereas like, you go and you crush a steak and you're like, oh my God, I can't eat anything until breakfast,
yeah.
which is fine. You've had density in your like, and you've had your caloric intake, but it's just, for me, I just have to constantly keep eating. And it was hard the first like year, but then now that I kind of have it down, I know that I can just, okay, I get it. Shake after the gym, skate, whatever. Okay, I know I only have 75 to 80 grams to get in the rest of the night. And I know that I can hit that.
And do you find you manage to maintain muscle mass throughout the course of the season, or is there any sort of like catabolic effects from that at all?
I haven't noticed my strength, or the body mass like go down again. And I'm the guy who kind of, I would never lose weight. Even when I was eating meat, I would never really lose weight during the season. It was more just like post season, when you're not burning 6,000 calories a day.
Yeah,
It would just shoot up. And so now I just go from maintaining to now maintaining again.
yeah.
Like I'm fluctuating 5 pounds at the max now. And so
Just
it's
water weight fluctuations, like that's fine.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. Or how many pints I take in
Yeah, how
with the
many
weight. So
how many pints, how many pops, Mark, you
yeah.
obviously eat very similar.
Yeah.
You go through stages where you eat like that. What do you find similar effects?
Yeah, actually similar to Thought here. There's a lot of similarities, especially with diet. I quit, well, I haven't touched alcohol for me was a big factor. So I cut that out with the sugars and with whey. And then I actually stopped eating pork. And for me, dropping pork made a huge difference to my digestion, my overall feeling. And yeah, I just naturally, I'm not a vegan, but I push more in that way. And I'm finding myself more balanced with my weight, especially less fluctuations, like you were saying. But normally now, I think I'm hitting around 80 kilos, which for a midget like I am is not bad. So I'm not losing weight. And that's the most important thing for me. So yeah, just load up on chickpeas constant.
Chickpeas are good. Right, boys, let's talk some hockey. You made your kind of major junior or junior A, so to speak, start in the USHL. That right? You went out of midget AAA into that. Obviously, for those in the UK, by now you guys must know, we've talked about this league enough. It is a tier 1 junior A league in the States. Kind of obviously, you've got the OHL, the Q, and the Dub. Well, you've got the USHL, which is a fantastic league. How did you get into that league? Were you drafted? And when you took your step up from midget going into that league, what was your kind of first thoughts of camp and the first few games, getting your feet wet?
Yeah, it was probably my only hockey regret is I think I went to junior a little early.
How old were you?
So
16?
I was 17, just 17. Turned 17. And, some guys can make that jump. I was there. I did it. I basically got invited to one camp. I wasn't drafted. I got invited to the Lincoln Stars camp and was like the last cut. And so I was like, all right, I had come to peace with, I'm a year away. I was still small. I hadn't really put on as much mass. So I was like, you know what, I need another year. Fast forward like a couple weeks, get invited to another camp, end up making it last guy as like the seventh, eighth defenseman, kind of just going to be maybe get 20 games in, just be a body. First month of the season, 2 defensemen go down, and now I'm in the lineup.
Now you're number 6. Night. That's it. You're in.
Yeah, I'm in every single night, and it was a huge shock. It just goes from you're fully protected, wearing a face mask, not having anybody hold you accountable for your actions with your stick. There's just all those things you learn, like, you run your mouth way too much and you got to answer for it. That's a huge jump in a hockey player's life, jumping from from midgets to junior. It's a really big jump. And then the next step being major junior to the NHL or college to the NHL. Like, that's obviously the next biggest jump, but I definitely enjoyed my time. I always knew I wanted to play college hockey. That was the original goal. I didn't think that I would ever get a chance to play hockey for a living, on the professional or semi-pro level. So when I got a scholarship to Northeastern, that was like
Let's
my dream.
Go, baby. Yep.
Yeah. So that was what originally I had set out to do. And
how much of that is because, like, not just for you and your story, but getting to call just every player, getting to call your parents and go, you're off the hook for fucking 200 grand's worth of college bills. How do you feel about that? That's got to be a fun phone call for the boys to make. Go, you know what?
No,
don't worry, I get to go to
is.
School. It's a lot of money, right? To have an NCAA Division 1 like scholarship. Yep. It's worth a lot of money. No,
absolutely. It's I don't know if it totally pays them back for everything they did, but it's definitely a nice thank you for sure. And they were definitely excited, and they got out to see me play quite a bit. And so I definitely loved my time at school. And the school part was hard. I wasn't probably the best student just because I didn't show up to class much, but
makes it a little tougher, right?
It was a little harder that way. But when you're living in downtown Boston, there's a lot of distractions. So
you, in your first year in Des Moines and USHL, you played with TJ, who went on to play for America in the World Champs this year. I think he picked up 5 assists. TJ, is it Teenan? Is that right?
Tynan, yep.
Tynan. What was it like getting to play with him at that young age? And could you tell like this kid was a real deal and he was going to go on? I think that year, yeah, he led the team 72 points in 60 games that year.
Yeah, he was. I mean, we grew up playing against each other. We were the same age, and so I had played against him since we were 14. And yeah, there was no doubt he's still one of the best passers, playmakers I've ever played with.
Yeah, he had I think it was 62 apples that year.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, just ridiculous vision and just such good touch off the rush on the pat. His 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, like his playmaking ability is just fantastic. So I've been very fortunate to play with some guys that were a lot better than me. So
What was the reasoning for the following season? Obviously, you were the Fighting Saints, but then you end up shooting over to Corpus Christi in the NAL, so the NAHL again is a tier 1 junior A league. Why did you get traded across leagues, or did you weren't very happy with your new situation, want to get the fuck out of Dodge, or what was the score?
no, it was kind of the coach at the time, Jim Montgomery, didn't. I think
Jim
he brought
Montgomery.
me there.
How do we know that name?
He's the head coach of the Boston Bruins.
That's
now.
who he is. Yeah, there he is. That guy.
He was yeah.
Mark fucking supports the Bruins. Come on.
Yeah, I knew that. I was not surprised you didn't know that.
Yeah, my brain. Do you know when you hear a name and you're like,
Yep.
yeah, him. Sorry, interruption.
No, you're good. He was first year head coach there, and he brought me in, and I just don't think I was a good fit. And so originally, I was gonna try to go to the British Columbia League,
The BCHL,
the BCHL, yeah. And then he ended up kind of was working with my agent at the time, or my advisor, I guess, and he just kind of ended up trading me to the North American League before we could work anything else out to get somewhere else. And so, but honestly, I had a great time down there. Corpus Christi is beautiful.
Whereabouts is Corpus Christi?
Like South Texas, like almost kind of like South Padre Island.
Almost like touching Mexico, right?
Very, very close, yeah. So, I mean, weather was great. The rink was like right on the beach.
Just shorts and flip flops year round, eh?
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful, and I really enjoyed my my best like host family that I had was that season. Just fantastic host family, and who just took care of everything.
Bill it with USHL and bill it with NAHL.
Yep.
So for those that don't know what billet is, because it's not really a thing that we have in the UK, but it's just your host family. Like I billeted when I went to Florida. Obviously, you're talking about billet in there. Some really, if you're lucky, some really fucking nice family from local to the town puts you up. I was lucky enough I had that, and you're touching on there. You had that. How important is that in a pathway for a junior hockey player?
I think it's super important, especially whatever your family dynamic was growing up. Obviously, you have to adapt and try to fit into what their family dynamic is and their rules. But also, I think it's great when they can find that balance of giving you your freedom. It's your first time away from home. Like, I think it's important that they give you that freedom and that leash to experience yourself, experience the city that you're living in.
Because you're 17, 18, right? You're still a young guy. You're trying to find yourself a little bit.
Young. Exactly, yeah. And they just were great. We'd have parties. I could call them and they'd come pick us up. They were flexible and understanding, and they had, their kids were older and out of the house. And so they kind of had known what it was like to, have that age of kids in their house.
Teenagers in the house, so,
yeah, exactly. So it worked out well. I had one roommate, and he and I just had a great time, and I still talk to them to this day. So
that's awesome. I love to hear stories like that. You do hear some shockers, eh?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely some tough situations that guys have gone through, but
there's some mad ones that we won't talk about on this podcast anymore. We've gone a little bit more. We've gone a little bit more like mainstream since we got over like 250 episodes or whatever it is. Mainly because now you can see my face on YouTube. Before it was just Spotify. I didn't give a fuck. When we were just doing Spotify, the stories were ruthless. But now that I'm on YouTube, I'm like, maybe just dial it back a wee bit, just a little bit. But yeah,
come find us at a bar and we'll tell you these stories.
Yeah, we'll tell you all these stories. We'll tell you them twice, in fact. Once when we're getting there, and then once we're a little buckled, we'll come back and tell you again. But obviously, you got to go to Northeastern. You touched on that. It's downtown Boston. It's Div 1. It's a big school. I mean, talk us through not only getting to go there, but the lead up. Did you go on school visits? Did the boys take you out? How did it work? Did you get looked after once you arrived as a rookie, or did you get terrorized? What's the score?
No, it was a weird transition too. It was also, I ended up tearing my ACL my last year at junior. and I committed to Northeastern like a month before that happened.
Nicely done.
So they hadn't got me out for a visit yet, and then all of a sudden now I need like major surgery. 7 month minimum recovery. And so the question was posed like, it was a new coaching staff at Northeastern. I was going to be part of their first recruiting class. And so there was questions of like, were they going to push me back a year? Let me play my overage year in junior, my 20-year-old year.
Yeah,
And
because you're only
then
gonna, if you're missing 7 months, right? You're only gonna come back and play a few games, but maybe we use this to rehab you, ready for your first year.
yeah, exactly. And the decision was made they wanted me to come in and finish my rehab at school.
Is that
And so
because
they
they
were
have
like,
best doctors, best physios, the best guys to be around?
yeah, ideally. And I think just they want a certain level of control on the
Yeah.
rehab as well, which is fair. Like I understood that part. I think again, looking back at it now, one situation where maybe had I waited a year could have maybe helped me out, but it's catch 22.
Some other
So
kid
yeah,
could
I
have
mean,
came up and
exactly.
said, "I'm gonna
Yeah,
take your
exactly.
fucking spot. See you later, bud."
Exactly. So I think being part of the first recruiting class for that coaching staff was important. I got all of the opportunities, which I was fortunate about. And yeah, the freshman year was hard. There was 9 of us freshmen, and we're all like playing over the upperclassmen, and so it was a hard transition for all of us because we were trying to rewrite and rescript the culture and the environment of this school. It had been a good school, with a lot of potential, but we just hadn't reached that level, where we could be extremely competitive. And so that was just a hard transition there was 9 of us in that freshman class. Like it's a lot to ask 9 freshmen to come in and try to turn your,
It's the entire program around.
exactly. It was hard, man. But
They're like,
we
tough
did
shit,
it.
bud. You got a scholarship. Fucking go get some results. We don't
Exactly.
care.
Exactly. I know it was sink or swim, and that's perfect. And we found a way to do it. And by the time our senior year rolled around, we had ended up winning a Hockey East championship. And then I think the year after I left, I think they won another one, and then three bean pots in a row. So like now,
Okay, so
Northeastern's
UK fans would have heard this on Chicklets, the bean pot. Fucking Wit loves the bean pot. I know what it is, but explain to the people what exactly the bean pot is, because it is one of the big deals in college hockey.
yeah, I think it's having played in a Hockey East championship game, even the NCAA tournament, it's the best college hockey environment out there. It's played every year at the TD Garden in Boston, and it's the four Boston schools. So it's Harvard, Northeastern, Boston College, Boston University, and all you have to do is win 2 games.
Sounds easy, right?
It sounds easy.
Sounds really easy.
It's very hard.
Yeah, just got to win 2 games, no problem.
Win 2 games, yeah. And I didn't realize how big it was. Obviously, I'd heard about it leading up, going into it, but then, midway through my freshman year, right as we're approaching the Beanpot, we weren't doing very well. We were kind of 500, and one of the alumni came up to me and was like, "Oh, just win the Beanpot, and it's
all good.
the season. The season's a win." I'm like, "Well, what about the playoffs? Like, what about like a national championship?" And he's like, "You win the Beanpot. That's what matters in Boston."
Yeah, you're getting free pints in town if you win the bean pot, right?
Oh my God. Yeah, that was the goal every year. And unfortunately, I didn't win one in my time, but now that I've left, we've started this trend. Yeah, we started this trend where it's like Northeastern's winning every year or every other year. So it's awesome to see. And I think I credit my freshman class as we helped turn that program, so.
Obviously, you're in Hockey East. It's one of the dynamite divisions. Talk us through who you're playing against on a weekly basis.
Yeah, so that conference is very deep. I'd say probably 4 or 5 teams make the national tournament every year. Boston College, Boston University, New Hampshire, UMass Lowell, Massachusetts, Merrimack, Providence has won national championship, Vermont. It's, arguably it's number 1 or 2 conference in college hockey. So
who are they competing against in regards either 1 or 2? Who would the other conference be?
Probably the NCHC with like North Dakota, Miami, Ohio, Colorado College, Denver.
Miami, Ohio, undercover, fucking sick.
Yeah, Minnesota, Duluth, St. Cloud.
Duluth, yeah.
So
that's a lot of good hockey players in those schools, right there.
A lot of good players. So it was fun, man. I definitely enjoyed college.
What was it?
Being like that has got to be like most North American guys, like especially every college, that's got to be like a dream. I don't want to downplay the theme part. It's just like something I would like to watch, be a spectator for.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's like it's so many students. So it's like the bottom bowl is full of, people that have lived in Boston, whatever, bought tickets for family, friends, but then the upper bowl is all students and the bands. And so it's just like a constant battle of the bands, battle of the students chanting against each other. It's just fantastic. Like watching it on TV almost doesn't do it justice for just how loud and obnoxious it is. So
will you look back on that and say it's probably one of your fondest memories in hockey? I know you're still playing and you've got a while left, but there's not going to be a lot that really tops something like that. Eh?
No, definitely not. Playing in that tournament every year was so special and definitely up there for my favorite hockey moments.
And what would you say about Boston itself? It's my dream. I'm a Bruins fan since '98, and I'm dreaming to go one day.
Yeah, it's a fantastic city. It's like smaller feel. It's not as big as New York City, but it's like got the same like just so many good restaurants and the history of the city is fantastic. I mean, everything is. I just had a blast. It was using it as my playground, and it was just so much fun. You definitely need to get there.
That's sure. So you've gone from the NCAA and then you went to the ECHL. Tell us about that. How was it in South Carolina?
Yeah, it's another very underrated spot. It's so playing in the South is so much fun. It was nice weather. We were golfing every day after practice. It was just a great way to start my pro career, and I had a lot of fun there. And I think it was once I finally got able to try playing for a living, like it just was, I wanted to chase the opportunity more than the money. Obviously, as a minor hockey league player, like you're never going to make millions, but it was more I just wanted the opportunity to play as much as possible. And I think my stat pack or my history shows like, oh, I just took opportunities wherever I could get them. I wanted the chance, to prove what I had. And so I think I just approached my career like that. Like, I'm here, I can be the guy if you need it. And, hopefully I make an impact. And that was how I viewed my career. And I guess kind of how I'm finishing it. I just want to be utilized and provide what I have to provide. And hopefully that's what that team needs, and I think that I'm a good fit for Sheffield this next season. And I think it kind of just plays into how I've been approaching my career.
Obviously, you touched on South Carolina being a great place to play. My first year in Basingstoke, I played with Matt Reed, who was a South Carolina legend. I'm sure if you look him up in the record books, he'd be there or thereabouts. He just said, he's like, Watty, it's so fucking fun. Like, he left Basingstoke and went back. He was like, fuck this. He was like, I'm going back to South Carolina. It's so much fun there. What did you guys do to keep yourself entertained? Obviously, in the coast, you got long bus trips and you got the big away swings. But when you're back at home, and you're turning up. The weather's good, pretty decent. Like, what was you doing to keep yourself entertained?
Yeah, I mean, that year in South Carolina, I mean, we lived 10 minutes from the beach. So, I mean, we had three or four golf courses that we could, that we had membership with or whatever, just we could go play whenever we wanted. Yeah, and the nightlife in South Carolina and Charleston, if you've ever been down to King Street, like they have anything and everything you could want, in terms of the nightlife. And so, yeah, it was another fun. I've been very fortunate in my career. I haven't really played in that many bad spots. So,
Okay, this is a question I always like to ask the guys that have jumped around the coast. That sometimes we're lucky enough to get to talk to some NHL boys. We get to chuck those cities in as well. Best city to go out on the road in the coast, and why?
Idaho, Boise, Idaho.
Okay, talk me through a night out in Idaho with the boys, with the fellas there.
Well, you stay. The rink is attached to a hotel. And so you stay at that hotel. You literally take the elevator from your floor down to the event floor, and you're in the locker room.
That's cool.
So it's like, oh yeah, it's just
That's cool as shit. Yeah,
so convenient. And I played in Idaho for a little while, but even going back there as the road team, it's just so much. There's 30 bars in a 2-mile radius.
Oh, just mental.
That you can just walk to, and the best bar is Humpin' Hannah's.
Great
and it's
name. Great name.
Yeah. This lady who her and her husband own it, she's actually the head of the booster club for the Steelheads.
Okay.
And she's in a band, and
That's
she
cool.
still plays live music at this band. She'll get on stage and like throw dildos into the crowd. Like it's an absolute time. Like it's fantastic. Oh yeah, she would bring you up on stage and like sing with her. It was just awesome. And even as the road team, it's still so much fun.
Is that the bar in town where, like, if the home boys are out drinking and then you go, hey, to the away team, yo, you boys need to come and have a few pops with us in here and have a good time?
Yeah, it was like every time even against guys or teams that we hated, like you always found a way to like, yeah, come on in. It's all right.
Come on, boys.
Like,
come and have some tequilas. Let's go.
Exactly. And her husband, he's the one that kind of ran the bar while she's up on stage singing and stuff. And he would have a case of beer for the away team just ready to go.
Yeah, good guy.
Like, yeah. So it's just a perfect city to go out in as the away team.
You headed off to Manchester. You kind of split your time between Manchester, South Carolina, and then a couple of call-ups and a couple of cups of coffee, a game with Hershey, 4 games with Springfield. When you were starting to get that little taste there, how did you feel? Did you feel ready to step up? Did you feel that you could do a job full-time? Or was you under no illusion that, hey, we're going to bring you up, we're going to send you down, we're going to bring you up, we're going to send you down?
Yeah, so after the first year or two, when you do that, and again, like I said, I was just chasing the opportunity. And so when you see how many good players there are and what the business side of hockey really is, it's very difficult to play in the National Hockey League. It's very difficult to play in the American Hockey League because there's so many good players, and draft picks from years past or years coming up are always, your job security is just never safe, unless you're that top 1% of players who really go into camp every single year and they're like, I'm fine.
I know I'm on the list.
Exactly. Like that wasn't me, so it's just fucking hard, man. It's hard to make a living playing hockey, playing any sport. It's very difficult. And
what is it Billy Connolly says? A hard way to make an easy living.
Exactly, right? Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I just knew that it was going to be one of those things where if I could get a team to finally give me a chance, I definitely thought that, I could have had more games in that league. I believe in myself as a player. I don't think I'm inflated of who I was as a player, or I think I'm better than I am. I definitely thought that, hey, I could be there, but there's also 50 guys just like
that want that one spot.
Yeah. So what? And the fact that I'm 5'9", that's a huge factor as well. Like, why are they going to get a guy who's 5'9" when we could have a guy that's 6'4" doing the same thing,
If
if
you
not
both
better?
skate the same, you both chuck
Exactly.
in 10 points, 25 points, whatever the number is, but you both do
Exactly.
it. Yeah, I'm sorry, mate.
Exactly.
I'm team short guy. I'm 5'10", but I'm taking the six
That's all
four
right.
fucking guy. I'm taking the 6'4" guy on my team every fucking day.
Absolutely. And that's just, that's the old, you just can't teach size, right?
Yeah,
You can always teach skills, and you can get these guys to learn to skate better, be more offensive, stick skills. We can increase all of that. I can't be 6 foot,
what was
So,
Vegas's shortest D man this year? 6'2.5", I think, in the playoffs. The fucking
yeah,
eight guys that are between like
I don't
6'2"
know.
and 6'6". It's like it's
Shea Theodore is not 6'2". I know that for a
maybe
fact.
they
But
measured him in his skates. Like they used
oh,
to.
okay.
We got a guy, your former rival captain, Danny Myers. I used to play with Danny in juniors, still friends now. And I'd remember his first call up with a bison, and it was like Danny Myers, 6'4". We were like, from fucking where? Where's this
Yeah,
guy grown 3.5 inches since last week? When he played for the under
yeah,
19s last week, he was 6'1". He's now like 6'4.5". It's like, that's some nice growing you've done there at 19 years old. But it's
yeah.
interesting. Do you think size still plays a factor in the game, even though there's not as many out and out tough guys for a start? The game's less physical. They've eliminated pretty much all kind of head contact. It's not as big a factor in my opinion as maybe it was 20 years ago when everybody was huge. They could fucking run you. There was no hold ups. There was no tie ups. You're getting smoked with you as a D man. Like, you're having a rough night if
Yeah,
you're 5'9" back in the day.
for sure. No, it's definitely. I think it definitely still plays a factor, but it's the difference now is like the big guys can actually skate.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like
That's true.
it was more like our the early '90s, late '90s, even the early 2000s. Like it was, you had your smaller, barely 6 foot guys that were the high end offensive skill, but now that the game has changed so much that you can be 6'3" and be a skill
Silky
guy.
smooth.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's just it goes and it always changes in cycles, and maybe we'll get back to that cycle where fighting will and the physicality of hockey will ramp back up. I definitely don't like that it's kind of being pushed out. I definitely think that that's what makes our game so unique is we also get to police the game,
Oh yeah. I think
which I
last
think is so
year,
important.
sorry, the hockey guy, shout out hockey guy on YouTube, fellow. I'm always going to say fellow YouTuber, but I feel that's an insult to him to even put us in the same fucking sentence as him. But he's still a fellow YouTuber. His channel's brilliant. The guy has more jerseys and baseball caps than anyone I've ever seen, but he does brilliant breakdowns. There's actually like 668 fights in the NHL last year. The numbers are climbing back up post-pandemic. And by the way, the numbers in that condensed pandemic season, no cross-division games, all games in-house, the fighting numbers were through the fucking roof. You want these guys to start punching each other in the face? Stop making them travel from fucking New York to Seattle to play a game. Make them travel to New Jersey. You want to see guys punch each other in the face? Make them play each other more. It happened. And I don't know how much it is that we've taken fighting out the game. We've taken the pure knuckle draggers out the game, but there's always going to be a spot for a Tom Wilson. Like there's always going to be a spot for a guy like that. Like it doesn't matter what league on the planet you're playing.
For sure. But again, that's just it's adapted to more like he fights a very select few, and he only responds because he's utilized more as a player.
Yeah, he doesn't have to fight. He doesn't have to fight Brash. Donald Brashear is not coming off the bench and going, "Hey kid, you got to fight me." He's like, "You've played 47 seconds in the last 4 games. I'm not fucking fighting you. I'm first line right winger with fucking Ovechkin in the middle. I'm not fighting you, Brash." But equally though, it's nice to have if you run into the situation you go up to Toronto this year and you got Ryan Reeves, or you go across town, you got McDermott over there. You got. There's still some big bodies that, hey, if they punch you in the face, they might not be as tough as Proby and all these guys. They punch you in the face, you better believe it's still gonna fucking hurt.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
they're big dogs. Do you
Yeah,
do you miss that
definitely.
side of the game in terms of like that's you're 5 6 years younger than me. You're 6 years younger than me, but I grew up of the generation of I was on the kind of tail end of Probert and McSorley, and then I was in the era of every team had a guy. Every team had at least a guy. I look back to like my first live NHL game, Christoph Odawa in New Jersey. Like my second NHL game was Sandy McCarty in NYC. Do you know what I mean? Like everybody had a guy. Could these guys play now? No. Could they? Fuck, not a chance. But at the time, the role these guys did, you ask anyone on that 25, 26 man roster, would they rather they were there or they would rather they not there? It's going to be a resounding fucking 26 zip to yeah. We want that guy there. Do you think teams now miss out a little bit on having just that? It doesn't even have to be a meathead, but just that pure toughness. You go, this guy, he might not win 100% of his fights, but he'll turn up 54 times a season if we need him to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I started my pro career with Trevor Gillies. So
you talk about
that,
tough.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, just a completely different human when he puts on his skates versus when I'd see him with his family. You know, the nicest guy. But when it came to protecting his teammates and his job, and I think it's just the respect that those guys had for the game as well.
Yeah,
like yeah, once in a while they'd cross a line when they just were seeing red and they just couldn't get them out, but they never they always knew that they'd have to answer for their actions.
Okay,
and that's
yeah,
something
and
that
the guys that don't know what that means, Source, they're the guys that haven't lined up on the blue line for a national anthem with their helmet off, staring on one blue line and staring back at you with fucking disgusting handlebar mustache. It is Trevor Gillies, and he is looking at you through your soul. You better believe that makes a difference when you go in and forecheck the star D man. Go, maybe I won't run that fucking guy tonight because guess what? Trev's sitting over there and he doesn't look very happy. Like that changes a lot of shit. Like your forecheck changes. Like everything changes because if you're a running gun, high offense, high pressure, high hitting team, and the first shift, one of your guys goes out and runs a D man through the back of the fucking net. And then the second shift, Trevor Gillies lines up on the left wing. You're like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And that's going to be in the back of your mind. It was a tactic back in the day. And I think it's a tactic that's missed.
Absolutely. I mean, and I think too, just from the standpoint of your players feeling safe. I mean, like I look at Crosby's concussion issues.
He should never had as many.
He would never have had that many had he had
Derek Brugard on his fucking lineup.
Yeah, like Reeves was kind of late to the party when he got there.
He'd already had two conkies. He already had two, maybe three conkies by then.
He already missed almost 2 full seasons. So when you're talking about taking care of high-end players, there was a reason Gretzky never got hit.
Yeah.
And why he was able to be so successful. And
Dave Semenko and Mike McSorley might have something to say about that.
Right, exactly. So I think that it's hard. I think it's a balance. They need to still be in the game, but also the old generation of not being able to skate, not being able to actually play as well.
Yeah.
We need more hybrid Tom Wilsons in the game. Yeah. Definitely. We need more guys like that can still play, be effective.
What's funny is when the Elite League fans talk about some of these guys, they talk about them like they're fucking shit. Paul Bissonnette, okay, I think he probably had maybe 9 points his whole entire NHL career. One of the best personalities that ever happened to hockey. But
go further, go faster, get fitter. Subscribe today. Hurricane e-bikes have a great range of bikes available on the e-bike subscription plans. The Cruiser e-bikes are perfect for beach rides, long distance rides, or just everyday use. The Fat Bike e-bikes look great and can cope with the toughest terrain, perfect for off-road adventures. The hybrids range are perfect for about town, everyday use, and leisurely rides with the family. Take your ride to the next level with the mountain bike and get ready for your next power-assisted adventure.
One of the best personalities that ever happened to hockey. But hockey-wise, that guy was healthy scratched more than the games he played. And I think he had like a 210 game stint in the NHL. He came over and in his own words, he was the fucking Sidney Crosby of Cardiff. He played in like 11 Elite League games and got like 20 points. These guys, they might be, when we're talking about it to the NHL level. These guys can still skate. They can still shoot. They can still wheel around out there. Do not mistake what we're saying. We're not saying these guys are plugs by any stretch of the imagination. What we're saying when we talk about this is compared to that first liner from Northeastern, he don't skate so good. He doesn't play so good.
Yeah.
But that's the difference now. You're bringing guys in from junior or college at 18, 19, 20 that are fucking so ready.
Yeah, definitely.
He scored on his first shift as well, I believe.
Say that again, Mark. Sorry.
He scored on his first shift as well, I believe.
Not bad considering he was out drinking until 6 a.m. What the stories have been led to believe. Obviously, we got to interview a couple of the boys that played with Biz in Cardiff, and they told some good stories about him. But it's just funny, like people would look at his NHL career and just think he's a plug. The guy was a 2-time East Coast All-Star, and like there's levels to this game, and even a good East Coast player, not that they don't all make the All-Star team. Like there's some very, very good players, and we've been lucky enough to see a lot of guys from the coast. Is there anybody that you've played against this year that you've seen that's maybe been announced by another Elite League team that the fans should look out for? That someone that you go, I played against this guy, he's legit. Because the Elite League are bringing a lot of guys in from that route this year.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of guys are jumping over to that league, and it seems like it's growing in popularity. And I think that's just a credit to hockey in the UK getting bigger. And I think, I try not to, I guess I'm not an elite prospect guy where I'm checking up on where everybody's going, but I definitely know that there are a few guys this season that have signed over there that it'll be exciting, and we as a team will have our hands full for sure. So I think that just makes the competition level better, and to continue to grow the sport in the UK is the goal.
Okay, let's fast forward. Obviously, actually, kind of fast forward. You were up in the AHL, a few different cities, few games here and there. Where did you find was the best place? Obviously, the AHL outside the NHL, North America, the highest league you can play in. Where did you go in and feel like this is the most chill? Like, because obviously you've been doing the soggy subs in the coast. You've come out of Northeastern, probably eating fucking ramen noodles and drinking pints. when you went up to the A, where did you go? Do you know what? I could be pretty comfortable here. I think I could make a life here. Where was the one city that grabbed you?
So, I mean, probably my favorite AHL city, just because it was my longest stint there, was Utica. Now, the city itself is, very average, but I ended up meeting my wife there, so it was great. I think in terms of my favorite or the closest to getting a taste of what it was like in the NHL was when I was playing for the Ontario Reign.
Oh, okay.
Because we practiced at Toyota Center with the Kings. That's and wild. Seeing Drew Doughty after practice and lunch, I'm sitting there having lunch and he's like, "Nice beard, man." And I'm like, oh.
Never shaving again. I'm never shaving again. That's it.
I was like, Drew Doughty just talked to me. When I was obviously it was my second, third year, so I was just trying to still make a name for myself. But being at that facility when you're that close to those guys, I was like, oh man, I was living in Manhattan Beach, just in the hotel for my call up. But I was like, oh my gosh, this is just crazy. It was a fantastic setup there, and yeah, that was the moment where I was like, wow, I could definitely get used to this.
Love it. Right.
But
Obviously,
then I was
sorry.
gone. I was gone the next day.
And then they're like, "See you, bud. Fucking bye." And that's another thing that UK fans struggle to wrap their heads around. Is just the total uncertainty. And even though guys sign 1-year deals over here, the fans fall in love, right? And then Joe Schmo moves to the team down the road, and they're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he did that!" And it's a fucking 7-month contract. Like, why wouldn't he do that? Like, why would it? If you get a chance to say you come here this year and you do great, and someone in the Dell calls you next year, you're not going to go, "Well, I did love Sheffield, but no thanks, Dell, because I want to stay." Don't take it personally, fans. It's not a personal decision. Much the same for these teams when they fucking send you up and down. It's not personal. They're not going to go, Sauce has grown his beard too long. Fuck him. Let's send him down. It's literally it's a business decision. Same as like when a player moves, it is a personal and a business decision because you're always going to try and better yourself and bring it on to better yourself. Is that what took you out the coast and made you decide, 2021 was going to be the year that you tried Europe?
I think too. I had always thought about going to Europe. It was just my want to travel and just experience as many places as I could. I think just the combo with, clearly my shot at the NHL was over. Realistically, you get about 2, maybe 3 years if you're lucky to like try to find your spot and your true chance. So yeah, I knew I wanted to come over to Europe and just see what that had to offer, and picked kind of a couple tough years just right after COVID. Like Innsbruck was so fun, but the entire city was shut down. So like, I think that's why I had such a good time there, was just like the imports that we had made it fun. Our bus rides were like the nights out because we couldn't really go out still, and then
Party bus city.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that turned into the card games on the bus and, drinking wine after the game. Like, yeah, I'm sure Tan's filled you in on all that.
Yeah, Tan said you a couple of bottles of wine might have got drunk. In fact, I think what Tan said.
Like a couple of billions.
Yeah, I think that's what he said. It started as like, guys are bringing 2 or 3 pops for the start of the journey after the trip, and then it was like 6 or 7 pops. Then it was a bottle of wine. He said by the end of the season, guys got the suitcase. They're moving on to the bus. Like, just what a good time, though, right?
It was, man. It was fantastic, and this city was obviously just gorgeous. It just was shut down pretty much. We just couldn't do as much. We still got a few things done, that we wanted to, and a few sightseeing things, but I'm definitely. I think that's why I'm also looking forward to this year, is being able to just experience the UK a little bit more and have it not be shut down. The last time I was there, even in Slovakia, it was still, we had COVID shutdowns. Yeah, we were kind of still battling through that, and so it's nice to see the world's at a spot now where tourism's back up and now we can go experience things, and I can, on my off day, I can get down to London. I can go do some things that I wanted to do there. And so, yeah, man, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
So Innsbruck, you touched on like the imports being a good bunch. It's quite a universal bunch. We've got quite a mix. We've got a couple of 4 or 5 Canadians, a Norwegian, a Swede for a bit.
The Norwegian played for Sheffield a couple of seasons ago in the Elite Series.
Yeah, Danielson, that's right.
Danielson.
So and a Czech guy, obviously a couple of Yanks as well mixed in the mix. What was it like having all the different cultures on one locker room? Because I love it. I always find that you get to play with guys from different countries and they're all fucking beauties. Yeah,
it's fantastic, man. The more guys that you can meet from Europe, Canada, wherever they're from, like, I've just been always just a super outgoing, friendly guy. So it seems like I can try to make friends or just even come to understanding with teammates. Maybe if I'm not the best of friends with them, we're all not going to get along every single time, but it's like, if you can respect a guy on that level and make it work while you're at the office type thing, like, I think that's the most important thing. And I played with some really, really great guys Russian, Slovak, Czech, Swedish, like met great guys everywhere. And I think that's just the beauty of our game is there's just good people involved in it, and it's just super exciting. And I'm sure the UK will be no different. I'm sure I'll love all my teammates there.
So obviously, sorry, Mark, come.
Yeah, did you hear anything? I believe you played with Sam Hare as well, who was now a rival with Nottingham Panthers. Did he give you any heads up with coming to the UK?
Yeah, actually, we talked not too long ago because I was actually in Chicago for a weekend, and that's where he's from. So I was trying to meet up with him. But yeah, he was like, "Dude, you're gonna love that league." And obviously he had a really great season there while he was there,
was
and
good.
yeah. So he raved about it. I've heard Nottingham is a rival of Sheffield, so those games will definitely be interesting. But yeah, he said the rink in Sheffield was great. I mean, I haven't heard a bad thing yet, man. So,
well, just type Sheffield into Twitter right now, and you'll hear it. If you, obviously, I'm going to interrupt our podcast with Source for two reasons right now. First of all, we stand with the Steel Dogs, myself and Mark. We can't thank the Steel Dogs enough for what they've done for this podcast, and to see them go through the ringer right now. Sorry, Source. The Steel Dogs, the team in the league below. The Steelers owners just tried to buy them, and the fucking wheels have fallen off. But these are good people, and ultimately you're fucking around with good people. The players are all good local lads. They're all Brits. They're all built in Sheffield, made in Sheffield. We stand by them. And second is this Saturday is the third edition of the 4,000 and counting charity game, and the boys will be playing to get their hands on a trophy. That's right, EIHA. We have trophies for our events, and this is how we do it. Make sure you get your tickets at theticketlab.co.uk/4,000 and counting. Couple of jerseys still up for grabs. You can get them across our social media, t-shirts, everything else. Right, thank you for that. Go and get your tickets right now. My name is Dodie, Royal Marsden Children's Cancer Charity, two fantastic charities. Go get your tickets, support any way you can. Let's go back. So we touched on Innsbruck. You then go to Slovakia. You go to Kosice. I've been lucky enough to watch a couple of games in that rink. I watched Great Britain take on America, as well as Great Britain take on Denmark, and a couple of other internationals at the World Championship level. You said earlier the rink is unreal. The rink is fucking so cool. What was that like, having that as your home barn on a weekly basis? Obviously, COVID plays a part, but just was there fans in the building at this stage, or had they not started? Obviously, towards the end of the year in the playoffs, there were, but like all year, did you have fans or?
No, it was hit or miss. Like the start of the year, we had some, and then we had to scale it back. And so then there was, kind of the dog days of the season when you feel like you need fans there in January and February, because it's like that dip right before the playoffs where everybody's like, oh, the season. And then, it dips like right back up again for playoff time, which nobody in the stands. And that's tough. Like you really took that for granted, definitely playing in front of a great crowd, because then when you didn't have that, it was like, finding your own energy on a Wednesday night was hard sometimes, definitely everybody battled through that. So yeah, it was fantastic to finally get fans back in the building for the most, the love. Everybody loves the playoffs the most, so it was perfect timing.
What did you think?
Sorry, I need to jump in and say, looking at, you played for the Idaho Steelhead, you played for Košice, which is the steel city of Slovakia, and now you're going to the steel city of the United Kingdom.
I would have never fucking picked up. I would have never picked up on that if we did this fucking podcast until 2028.
Yep.
Nicely done.
I love it. It's the blue collar teams. I love it.
Yeah, that's what it is. Oh, I don't know. So there's going to definitely be some other fans in the UK not very happy to just call Sheffield a blue collar team. What do you reckon, Mark? Do you reckon that with their fucking 77 logos, sponsorships on the ice? That's going to be fun for you, by the way, when you come out from behind the net and the face-off circle's all fucking black. Like, where did the puck go? It's disappeared. But you touched on, obviously, Kosice. I was lucky enough to go there for 3 days. It was a bit of a whirlwind. I don't remember much, but what I do remember is A, the food in the restaurants we ate was phenomenal, and B, three of us to start. I know, let's call it 6 drinks each. Some of the GB Supporters Club members come and join us. We buy a round of drinks for them. 2 more come. We buy a round of drinks for them. Steak tartare, chicken platter. The guy comes over at the end and he's like 96 euros. We said, fucking what? Everyone's arguing like, who's paying this? I'll pay this one. I'll pay this one. Everyone's trying to like, fight out for the bill. Man, the food and the service and the people, like, it was so good there. How did you find it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was. I loved the city. Like the city itself was great. I can't complain about that, or my apartment was perfect. Like, I mean, it was more just what ended up happening as a result of my wife not getting her visa. That's what turned my whole like, feeling about the season, about the team. It just the way that stuff was handled. I don't talk bad about the team or the organization in terms of anything other than just my personal experience, because the city was so great. I've had guys ask me how it was there, and I've told them, hey, look, I had a bad experience. I won't be going back, but not everybody's going to have the same experience, but in terms of the city, nightlife, we had a blast there. So.
What was the reason it was a bad experience? Because obviously we've had Kev on. He touched on some of it on air. He touched on some of it off air. Pretty much everyone we've had. Mark, this will be a quicker way of doing this. Name one person we've had on that's playing in Slovakia that hasn't had a shit time at some stage. One player. You've only got to name one.
No comment, because I live on the border and I'm going there at the end of the week.
Don't sit on the fence much. No, but honestly, like we've heard so many similar things. Fucking teammates were great. Got paid on time. This was great. This was great. But this, and this was questionable. What was the thing for you? Obviously, you said a visa issue, which never fun.
No, and that was honestly part of the reason why I couldn't come to Sheffield last year was my wife had a visa issue, and she ended up getting banned from the EU for 6 months. I know the UK is not a part of that, but it's just that really put a damper on how I viewed the season. There were some minor things with coaching, and we didn't really see eye to eye on certain things. But then when the big stuff, like the people in your life that you're trying to take care of, and that sacrifice a lot for you to do what you love doing, when they come and they travel all that way and they're promised a visa written in a contract, that you hope is binding, is legitimate, and they're going to hold up their end and they don't, that's just extremely frustrating and put, kind of a bitter taste in my mouth about the whole experience. It's hard to like. The rink itself was great. The fans were great. But I just can't overlook that the person who is most important to me wasn't taken care of.
Yeah, you're fucking rock. You're a person. Yeah, and the one thing I can say about the UK is we've been called a lot of things, but that's one thing we've never been fucking called. Like, if they'd say your missus is going to get a visa and she's going to be in the house, it's going to happen. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen here. I think we're very, very good at looking after, the significant other, the spouses, the people that, like you say, no one's getting rich playing this game at this level. So the fact that they're willing to come with you, put their life on hold, do all these things that we all appreciate the fuck out of. Yeah. I just think clubs really need to appreciate that, and I know the fans do. And I know the fans can totally appreciate that. And it's just sad when what could have been a very, very good experience ends up being quite a negative one due to contract disputes and stuff that's in black and white, and that you take as gospel. Like, if you tell me that my wife can come with me and she's going to have a visa, and then you go back on that makes it a pretty raw deal.
I agree. Yeah, it's just frustrating, and I never wish that on anybody. You know, I don't want anybody to have to experience, you know, what I went through, and just that stress. You know, it puts stress on our relationship. It's, you know, there's just things you have to battle like constantly that just was bigger than the fact that it
A
was
game
just
of
a
hockey.
visa. Yeah, exactly, right. Like so, but yeah, like I said, Foxy's assured me everything will be taken care of. I'm just gonna have to learn how to get, you know, to drive on the opposite side of the road. That's gonna be the biggest thing.
Honestly, like I've driven Europe a lot, so it's the same as North America, right? So it's like driving on the right,
Okay.
and I've been good driving on the right every single time other than one, and I'm gonna sell myself down the river here. So my wife and I, about 5 years ago, we get into Ibiza, fucking late, tired, get the hire car in the car park, fucking around trying to, like, you know, learn all the buttons, learn where everything goes, what everything is. It's like, right, I'm good. I pull out and I pull out on the left side of the road, and there's this car coming towards me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And my wife's like, you're on the wrong side of the road, you dickhead. It's the right here. And I'm like, shit, fucking where? And I'm driving, and I'm like, I was just mesmerized with myself because I was like, I have done this 10 years in a row. Why today did I just decide today's going to be the day that I just drive into oncoming traffic? But other
That's
than that, I
hilarious.
mean, other than that, I've got a pretty good record. I think you'll be fine. You're going to have to get used to roundabouts because that's something in the States that you don't have many of. It's something in the UK we have an abundance of. But I think once you get used to the roundabouts, left-hand side is no problem, is it, Mark? It's just the roundabouts. It's just the roundabouts. You come to Basingstoke, you get like 12 yards, and then there's a roundabout, and then you drive 500 yards. There's a roundabout, and you drive 200 yards. There's a roundabout, and it's like just look. It's like it's fucking why? Just have a straight road. You don't need all that. But let's wrap up with a couple of cheese.
I just want to. I've got to ask.
Go on,
I
Mark,
ask
do it.
every guest that's played in Slovakia. I love Slovak hockey for various reasons. What was it like playing in Mitra? I was there a couple of weeks ago, and I absolutely love that rusty old bar.
Yeah, it was great, man. That was our first game of the season, when they still had fans going, and I was like, "Oh man, this country like loves, you know," because that like set the stage. Like that was my first game there, and yeah, that rink it's greasy, but it's also really cool at the same time. Like you come out and the fans are like right there above you, like not much glass between you and them, and like just chanting the whole game. Yeah, I loved playing in that rink.
Mark,
And the last one, sorry,
go on. I was going to say
last
ready for
thing
cheese.
after.
No, go. More questions. I love it.
So, consciously, I've worked a lot in Slovakia. I believe your rival is Dukla Michalovce. Did you ever get to experience the rivalry with fans there?
Just we played him in the playoffs, and
Mark just wanted to prove that he could announce that name. That was all. Like, he doesn't even care about your answer to the question. He was like, "Look how good I fucking announced that right now."
I know, right? No, so we played them in the playoffs, and it was yeah, they were rowdy, like extremely rowdy, and
like €3 a ticket
just,
and fucking 150 a beer, man. Like,
oh
of course they're
man,
rowdy.
like, yeah, it was just they were on another level, and I mean we ended up beating them at home, I think in game 6, but yeah, they got into there were like people altercations after the game. Pretty much every game.
The peanut vendors are standing up to him. The fans are standing up to him. My God, if I go down there, I'd be standing up to. I love that. But I love that. Do you not love that as a player? Going into a hostile environment where the fans fucking actually hate you. They like some teams, the fans actually hate you. Like this is a real hatred. They've never met you, but they hate you. I want to play there. I
know.
That's
It'll be a blast, man.
Right. We've kept you really long. We finished with some cheesy ones here. Let's wrap them up. Toughest guy you've ever played with or against?
Toughest guy for sure that I played with is Trevor Gillies, and then the second would be McDermott.
Oh,
He was my D partner for a game in Ontario.
okay. So listen, fans, what if you didn't take away from that what I did, just because you're in the show doesn't mean you're the fucking toughest. Trevor Giddies is one of the toughest hombres that wasn't an NHL enforcer. Like, he legit tough.
Yeah.
Best player you've ever played with or against, or both, One of each would be nice.
Best player I've played with, I'll probably stick with my answer, TJ Tynan. And then best player I've ever played against. See, it's toss up. Like Johnny Gaudreau is up there, but also I think like he was tough to play against, but he wasn't like tough to play against.
He's only
like,
little. He's a little guy, right?
Yeah, he's little, but he was so dynamic.
He's not Malkin, like leaning on you in the fucking corner.
But I think for me, like the hardest guy that I've ever played against was Kevin Hayes.
Okay, nice. Hazy.
Because he was just so skilled, but then being 6'3", 6'4", like it was impossible to move him. Like just defending him one-on-one was just a nightmare.
Oh, you're in a battle when you're playing against him, right?
Oh man, yeah.
Okay. Best coach you've ever played for?
Probably Richard Seeley. He was my coach in Manchester, and he's currently the general manager of the Ontario Reign in the American League. Just a great, a perfect mixture of a player's coach, but then a guy you feared. Because he was kind of like an American League. He got a few NHL games, but he was kind of like an American League tough guy.
Yeah.
Like back when it was like the jungle.
Yeah.
And
where
so he was
35 fights a season was a slow season back then.
Yeah, exactly. So he was like the perfect mix of like, he just gave us so much freedom and creativity offensively, but then like if you didn't play defense and like, do like the minor details of the game, he like you were afraid not to do those, So I think that he's just great guy too all around.
Okay. I by the way, I've been saying this for the last 7-8 months on this podcast. If you are the fan that wrote this suggestion down, please comment and let us know, because I just refer to you as the fan every time. Fan nominated sort of question for Cheese. If you were building an NHL franchise right now, who would be the one player that you build it around? Could be now, could have been in the past. You got one guy that you're going to build your entire franchise around. Who would it be?
I mean, to me, like Nathan McKinnon is the best player in hockey. And it's obviously debated, and McDavid's the best player and whatever. But I think that because I grew up in the Forsberg era, and so he is.
I mean,
day.
I would take him. I would just take Forsberg.
But
I would just take Forsberg.
I know, but so I'm gonna choose McKinnon.
Although he did have a fucking big part to play in bringing fucking Crocs to the world, so maybe I wouldn't take Forsberg. He can go back to the Pine, and I don't have to keep looking at people in Crocs in my gym.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess my answer would be Nathan McKinnon.
He's such a stud. Mark, do you know what? I don't think I ever asked you that question. Go on. Have at it.
John Scott.
John Scott. AHL All-Star John Scott. Don't say that.
That's so respectable.
No,
That's so respectable.
I would go with McKinnon as well, purely because he's going to give you points and he has that edge to his game, which I love.
Yeah.
Whereas McDavid doesn't offer the edge that McKinnon does, and I like a balance with rough and tough in the goals.
Can I change mine now? Mine's always been Vasilevsky. I'm a Tampa fan. And at that point, we were fucking lights out. But we're pretty distinctively average now. So I would like to change my answer. And my answer would be Nathan McKinnon. My answer would be Nathan McKinnon. Like, the guy is a guy. Like, he's fucking right there. And if it's not him, then it's Connor McDavid. Like,
yeah, it's definitely a close one. But
when you're looking at like $295, to watch him, you go, I could pay $295 to watch one of those two guys. Anything else, I'm probably going, it's a bit out of my league. But if those boys were coming to town, I could maybe get off the wallet a little bit and go, do you know what? This is like, I was lucky enough to watch Lionel Messi play football. And I'll take that to my grave. The guy scored a hat trick that night. I'll take that to my grave. Like, there's sometimes you just see these special fucking human beings do what they do and what they're good at. And it's worth the admission fee and more. And players that we're talking about right now are those guys. One final question, unless Mark's got anything. Mark, you got anything before I go? Story for the boys?
Last one, mate.
Right, we'd like to finish up on this podcast with a story for the boys. Something from over your career. Could be a fun one, could be a sad one, could be an inspirational one, could just be ripping the piss out of one of the fellas. We don't really mind how you do it, but just a story to leave the people with and get them excited for you to be rocking up at Sheffield. I imagine in less than 4 weeks, mate. You'll be here very soon.
Yep, leaving on the 28th. So
yeah, pretty much. So 4 weeks exactly, man. Like, so let's leave the fans with a story. Let's whet the appetite. Let's get the Sheffield. Well, I'm pretty sure they're already out getting their fake beards already in their hundreds. You're going to see a lot of that next year. But yeah, let's leave the fans with a nice story for the boys.
I mean, the story that like really sticks out. I'm sure you've heard a bunch of them, but when you're playing in the minor leagues, like it's just, again, you're chasing opportunity. And so I'll never forget, like, it was my second year in Manchester. And again, this isn't like necessarily that funny of a story. It's just kind of like crazy how things like come full circle. And so there was this guy that I had played against. His name was Brian Ward, and he was playing in Adirondack at the time. And we had played him in the playoffs the year before, and we just hated each other. Probably should have fought multiple times for whatever reason. It always just turned into a fuck you match and a slashing match, or whatever. And so
just $300 sticks just getting snapped over each other's shin. Exactly. Fucking owners in the box going, what is going on?
We could have solved this with one fight, and I'm sure both of us could have asked the other one. I'm sure we did multiple times, but so we were playing a 3-game set against them, and I'll never forget, on the Saturday night we were going at it, and then the next morning we get a call. Both of us are getting called up to Providence to play for the Bruins farm team. They want me to pick him up from his hotel. Just have
a street fight in the car park.
To drive 2.5 hours. And I'm like, oh man, am I gonna have to like wrestle with some demons here to like sit in a car with this guy for 2.5 hours on the way to go be teammates and play that night. And so I get Dunkin' Donuts, like coffee in the morning. I grab him a coffee, and I'm just like, what, I'm gonna try.
Stay your dick in it a little bit. Be like, there you go, again.
I'm just gotta kill him with kindness, and like hopefully we can get through this. And he, throws his bag in the back of my truck, and we're getting ready to drive. And he jumps in and he goes, "Should we just fight in the parking lot and get it out of the way?" And I was like, if you really want to. And then we just had a good laugh about it. Turned out
best guy ever, right? Yeah, great guy. Of course he was.
So it's just funny, this sport is so competitive, and everything is just, you go through games and seasons where you just battle with guys, but it always turns out that those are the guys you respect the most. And so it's just a funny minor league story. It's really stuck with me. So.
Can you pick that guy up that just fucking knocked your teeth out in the fucking third period last night? Do you mind just like picking him up? Maybe you take him a coffee, some fucking Timbits, and just drive for 2.5 hours, try not to kill each other. And then, by the way, you're on the same line tonight.
Yeah, it was wild, but.
Sauce, honestly, man, this has been so much fun. I can't wait to watch you play. Let's get you back on when you're over here and you're settled, and we wish you nothing but the best of success with the Steelers. and with our boy Mr. Tansy up in Sheffield land. You got a few boys. You got a few 4,000 and counting alumni on there. You got Brandon Whistle, a couple of the British boys, Dowdy. Wait until you see how Jack Dowdy is. I hope you don't do fucking sit-ups, because when you have to take the top off next to this brick in the shower, you're going to be like, I wish I did my sit-ups. Like, Dowdy's 35, the most shredded fucking human on the planet. He doesn't make, do you know you talked about earlier, like, difficult to lose that 2-week weight? That guy's never had fucking 2-week weight in his life. He's just been oil painting since he was like fucking 15. God. And so has he not, Mark, since he was like 15 or 16? Kid's been chiseled out of stone. It makes me sick.
So imagine if John O'Phillips was still there.
John O'Phillips, like, so you're going to get to meet these guys that we're talking about. And John O'Phillips, obviously, he was Steelers legend, captain, retired last year.
Yeah.
Was due to maybe make an appearance in a certain league with a certain team, if that certain team are allowed to play in that certain league. But hey, it's all UK hockey politics, baby. But don't forget the real trophy that's up for grabs this year, 4,000 counting trophy, baby. My name is Dodie, the Royal Marsden charity. 2 fantastic charities. Help us get over 10 grand this week, folks. Come on. This is 10 grand going to fucking brilliant charities, brilliant people, nice people. It could be helping a kid. It could be helping someone you know that unfortunately winds up with motor neuron disease, which is horrific. And we're lucky enough through doing interviews like this, talking to guys like Sauce, and me and fucking Mark talking like a couple of dickheads on YouTube, that we have the privilege of being able to do something like this and give back. And that was one thing that we started this podcast in 2019, that we pledged to you guys we will always give back, and we are giving back. So please do support us. It's this Saturday in Slough. Get tickets from ticketlab.co.uk. Shirts still available to buy. Only 7 now. We've sold 2 while I've been on here tonight, which I love. Keep doing that. Keep doing your bits. And honestly, just keep helping us grow the game in the UK. We appreciate it. Mark, this has been fun, my friend. Sauce, this has been great.
Yeah, loved it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, appreciate it, boys.
Peace. Thank you very much. We will see you for another episode very, very soon.